The easy target. Captain Zeth adjusted his ceremonial armor as the Federation starship Dominion's Will dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of an unremarkable solar system. His scaled hands traced the conquest medals adorning his chest. 47. Successful first contacts, 47 new worlds brought under Federation control. Today would make it 48. Target acquired, Captain, announced Navigator Quinn, her crystalline form pulsing with satisfaction. Third planet from the local star. Designation, Sol 3. The natives call it Earth or Terra, depending on their regional dialects. Through the bridge's massive viewing portal, Zeth gazed at the blue-green world spinning peacefully in the void. No orbital defense platforms, no patrol ships, no energy shields protecting the atmosphere. Just a handful of primitive satellites and what appeared to be a small space station barely worthy of the name. Intelligence report. Science officer. Vrak, Zeth commanded, settling into his command throne with practiced arrogance. The insectoid officer's mandibles clicked as he consulted his datapad. Standard primitive civilization, Captain. Carbon-based bipeds. Average lifespan 70 rotations. Technology level barely beyond chemical rockets. They've achieved nuclear fission, but still burn fossil fuels for energy. Population 8 billion. Divided into nearly 200 competing nation-states. The perfect prey. Zeth's laugh was a deep rumble that made the bridge crew relax. Another easy conquest. The Federation had perfected their expansion protocol, over 1,000 years and across 10,000 worlds. Find a divided primitive species, demonstrate overwhelming superiority, install a compliant government, strip mine the resources while claiming to guide the natives toward enlightenment. These humans would follow the same pattern as all the others. The Keltharians had surrendered after seeing a single Federation destroyer vaporize their moon. The Proxians had actually thanked them for ending their planetary war. The Ventarians had begged to join the Federation after witnessing superior technology. What's their military capability? Zeth asked, though he already knew the answer would be laughably insignificant. Primitive kinetic weapons, chemical explosives, and crude nuclear devices, Vrak reported. Their largest weapons could damage a Federation shuttle, perhaps, but nothing that could threaten a capital ship. They appear to spend most of their military resources fighting each other, rather than preparing for external threats. Communications Officer Thyra's melodious voice chimed in. Captain, their electromagnetic spectrum is flooded with entertainment transmissions. They seem obsessed with fictional stories about alien invasions, but their scenarios are wildly inaccurate. They imagine resistance is possible. The bridge crew shared amused clicks and chirps. These humans actually entertain themselves with fantasies of defeating superior alien civilizations. How charmingly naive. First Contact Protocol. Begin standard first contact procedures, Zeth ordered. Drop us into high orbit where their primitive sensors can detect us. Let them panic for exactly 1 rotation, then broadcast the welcome message, on all frequencies. The Dominion's Will descended through Earth's atmosphere like a dark omen. 5 kilometers long and bristling with weapons that could crack continents, the ship represented the absolute pinnacle of Federation naval power. Its hull absorbed radar waves while projecting an aura of menace that had broken the spirit of countless worlds. As they settled into orbit above the planet's largest landmass, Zeth watched the expected chaos begin. Radio transmissions exploded across every frequency as the natives detected their presence. Military installations went to alert status. News broadcasts erupted in dozens of languages. Perfect. Sir, Thyra interrupted, her musical tones carrying a hint of confusion. We're receiving a direct transmission. It's organized. Put it through, Zeth commanded, expecting to hear the desperate pleas of some primitive leader begging for mercy. Instead, the main screen revealed a human female in a crisp military uniform, seated in what appeared to be a sophisticated command center. Her expression was calm, almost expectant. Behind her, other humans moved with efficient purpose, rather than panic. Greetings, Captain Zeth of the Federation vessel Dominion's Will, she said in perfect Federation standard, her voice steady and professional. I am Ambassador Victoria Cross, representing the United Terran Defense Council. We've been monitoring your approach for the past 3 rotations. The first crack. The bridge fell silent. Zeth's scaled brow furrowed as he processed what he'd just heard. She knew his name. She knew his ship's designation. She was speaking Federation standard without a translation device. And most disturbing of all, she'd been tracking them for 3 days while they were still in hyperspace. "How do you know Federation standard?" Zeth demanded, his confidence wavering for the first time in decades. Ambassador Cross smiled, and something in that expression sent an ancient predator's warning through Zeth's nervous system. "We've had quite some time to study your language, Captain. Your previous 47 conquests were educational viewing for us." The implications hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. These humans had somehow observed Federation first contact protocols. They'd been watching, learning, preparing. This wasn't supposed to be possible for a primitive species. "We understand. You're here to offer us membership in your Federation," Cross continued, her tone remaining diplomatically pleasant while her eyes held something far more dangerous. "We've prepared a formal response to your standard terms. When would be convenient for you to receive our delegation aboard your vessel?" For the first time in his career, Captain Zeth found himself staring at a primitive species that wasn't cowering in terror. Instead, they were scheduling meetings. As he looked into Ambassador Cross's calm, confident face, a small voice in the back of his mind whispered that perhaps this routine first contact might not be so routine after all. He had no way of knowing that this moment would later be marked by galactic historians as the beginning of the end of the Federation's 1,000-year reign. The boarding party Captain Zeth paced the docking bay of the Dominion's Will, his claws clicking against the metal deck plating. In 3 centuries of conquest, no primitive species had ever boarded a Federation capital ship during first contact. The humans had not only requested it, they had insisted upon it, with polite but unmistakable firmness. "Atmospheric composition, adjusted to human requirements," reported Chief Engineer Blix, her tentacles writhing with nervous energy. "Gravity reduced to 0.98 standard, temperature optimal. They shouldn't require environmental suits." "Sir," Security Chief Corvin approached, his massive frame bristling with concealed weapons. "I strongly advise against allowing armed primitives aboard our vessel. This violates every first contact protocol." Zeth's laugh was forced. "They're carrying primitive chemical weapons at best, Corvin. What could they possibly do against Federation technology?" But even as he spoke, doubt gnawed at him. Something about this entire situation felt wrong. The docking bay's massive doors cycled open, revealing a sleek shuttle that made Zeth's breath catch in his throat. The craft's hull gleamed with what appeared to be Federation-grade armor plating, and its engine signature matched their own gravitic drives. This was impossible. Humans weren't supposed to have gravitic technology for another 1,000 years. The impossible delegation. 5 humans emerged from the shuttle, moving with the confident stride of experienced space travelers. No stumbling in artificial gravity. No wide-eyed amazement at alien architecture. No fear whatsoever. They wore form-fitting uniforms that seemed to incorporate technology Zeth couldn't immediately identify. Leading them was a tall human male with steel-gray hair and calculating eyes. Behind him walked Ambassador Cross, now wearing what appeared to be powered armor disguised as formal wear. The other 3 carried themselves like soldiers despite their diplomatic credentials. Captain Zeth. The lead human extended his hand in the traditional human greeting gesture. "I am Dr. Marcus Webb, Director of Xenotechnology Research. Thank you for receiving our delegation." Zeth hesitantly accepted the handshake, noting the human's grip was firm and his skin temperature normal despite the ship's adjusted atmosphere. "Dr. Webb, your shuttle's technology seems advanced for your species' development level." Dr. Webb's smile was disarming. "Oh, that? We've had some help understanding gravitic principles. Your people have been quite generous teachers even if they didn't realize it." "The crashed teachers." "I'm afraid I don't understand," Zeth said, though a cold certainty was building in his chest. "Roswell, 1947. Dr. Webb said casually as if discussing the weather. "Rendlesham Forest, 1980. The Phoenix Lights, 1997. Over the past century, we've recovered 17 crashed Federation scout ships and 2 damaged patrol vessels. Did you think we'd just ignore them? The Federation delegation stood frozen. Scout ships weren't supposed to crash. Their navigation systems were foolproof, their engines maintenance-free. Yet this human was claiming they'd found 19 vessels over 70 years. Ambassador Cross stepped forward. Each crash taught us something new. First, we learned you existed. Then we learned your language by studying computer cores. Finally, we learned your technology by reverse engineering everything we could salvage. Dr. Webb activated a device on his wrist, and a holographic display materialized showing detailed schematics of Federation technology. Gravitic drives, energy shields, quantum communications, molecular fabricators. It took us decades to understand the principles, but human ingenuity has a way of overcoming obstacles. Science Officer Vrak's mandibles clicked in distress. Sir, those schematics are accurate down to the quantum level. They shouldn't be able to understand our technology, let alone reproduce it. The Watchers. Understanding your technology was only the beginning, Dr. Webb continued, his casual tone becoming more ominous. We also learned to intercept your communications. Every Federation transmission for the past 40 years has been monitored, decoded, and analyzed by our xenolinguistics teams. The holographic display changed to show star charts marking Federation territories, fleet dispositions, and conquest timelines. Zeth recognized classified military information that only high-ranking Federation commanders should possess. We watched. You conquer the Altarians, Ambassador Cross said, her diplomatic mask slipping to reveal something harder underneath. We observed the subjugation of the Centauri colonies. We witnessed the pacification of the Vegan republics. 47. Civilizations reduced to resource extraction planets while you claim to be bringing them enlightenment. Dr. Webb gestured to his companions. Captain Reese commanded our first gravity drive test flight. Lieutenant Torres led the mission that infiltrated your listening post in the Proxima system. Engineer Park reverse-engineered your shield technology, using parts from a crashed survey ship. Each revelation hit the Federation delegation like physical blows. These humans hadn't just been preparing for first contact. They'd been conducting active intelligence operations for decades. The true preparation. You want to know what we've really been doing while you thought we were primitive? Dr. Webb asked, and for the first time his friendly demeanor cracked to reveal something predatory. We've been building. The holographic display shifted again, showing the dark side of Earth's moon. What had appeared to be natural craters were revealed as massive construction sites, docking bays large enough for capital ships, manufacturing facilities that dwarfed anything in Federation space, weapon emplacements that could threaten entire fleets. Luna Base became operational 15 years ago. Captain Reese spoke for the first time, her voice carrying military authority. Mars Base went online 8 years ago. The asteroid belt installations were completed last year. We've been very busy. Ambassador Cross smiled with Arctic coldness. We even built a few ships of our own. Nothing as large as your Dominion's will, of course. We prefer smaller, faster vessels. Harder to target, easier to mass produce. The display showed sleek human warships emerging from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Their designs were clearly derived from Federation technology, but optimized for different tactics. Where Federation ships were massive and intimidating, human ships were lean and numerous. The revelation. So you see, Captain Zeth, Dr. Webb concluded, when we say we've been expecting you, we mean we've been preparing for war with you for over half a century. Every crashed ship taught us your weaknesses. Every intercepted transmission revealed your strategies. Every conquered world showed us your methods. Zeth found his voice, though it came out as barely more than a whisper. What do you want? Ambassador, Cross straightened, and her next words carried the weight of humanity's collective resolve. We want you to leave our system and never return. We want you to release every species you've conquered, and we want you to dissolve the Federation before we're forced to do it for you. The silence that followed was deafening. Captain Zeth, conqueror of 47 worlds, found himself staring at a species that had turned his own technology against him. The humans hadn't just been watching the Federation's expansion, they'd been preparing to end it. As he looked into their determined faces, Szeth realized with growing horror that first contact with Earth wasn't going to be another easy conquest. It was going to be the beginning of the Federation's worst nightmare. The ultimatum Captain Szeth's breathing apparatus wheezed as he processed the humans' demands. Release every conquered species? Dissolve the Federation? These primitives were either insane or supremely confident in their hidden capabilities. He activated his emergency communicator, broadcasting directly to Federation High Command on the core worlds. Admiral Nexus! Szeth's voice carried barely controlled panic. Emergency situation on Sol 3. The humans are not what they appear. They've been preparing for war against us for decades. They demand complete Federation surrender. The response came through with typical Federation arrogance. Captain Szeth, you will follow standard protocol. If the primitives refuse our generous offer of protection, demonstrate our superiority. One orbital bombardment should suffice to bring them to reason. Dr. Webb tilted his head, apparently listening to something through an earpiece. Captain, I should inform you that we've been monitoring your transmission to Admiral Nexus. We've also taken the liberty of jamming your communications with the rest of your fleet. Ambassador Cross stepped forward, her diplomatic facade completely gone. You have exactly 1 hour to remove your vessel from our system. Any attempt at orbital bombardment will be considered an act of war, and we will respond accordingly. The Federation's response. Szeth's scaled features twisted into a snarl. No primitive species had ever threatened a Federation captain. You think your stolen technology can stand against 1,000 years of galactic dominance? This ship alone could sterilize your entire world. Could it? Captain Reese asked with deadly calm. She activated her own communicator. Control, this is Package 7. Light them up. The Dominion's will shuddered as every warning system on the bridge activated simultaneously. Through the viewing portal, Szeth watched in horror as the space around his ship erupted with targeting beams. Dozens of hidden weapons platforms throughout the solar system had simultaneously achieved weapons lock on his vessel. Science officer, Vrack's voice cracked with disbelief. Sir, I'm detecting 47 separate targeting systems. Energy signatures match Federation heavy weapons, but the configuration is unknown. They're all focused on us. Dr. Webb smiled with predatory satisfaction. We learned from studying your conquered worlds, Captain. The species that survived your first contact attempts were the ones that shot first and asked questions later. We decided to adopt that policy ourselves. The hidden arsenal. The main screen flickered to life, showing Admiral Helena Stone in what appeared to be a massive command center deep beneath Earth's surface. Behind her, hundreds of human technicians monitored screens showing Federation ship positions throughout known space. Captain Szeth. Admiral Stone's voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to absolute obedience. I am Admiral Helena Stone, Supreme Commander of Terran Defense Forces. You are currently targeted by 17 orbital defense platforms, 12 asteroid-based weapon systems, and 33 stealth ships. Any aggressive action will result in the immediate destruction of your vessel. The display shifted to show human ships decloaking throughout the solar system. Their designs were sleek and predatory, built for speed and firepower rather than intimidation. Where the Dominion's will was a flying fortress, these ships were flying daggers. Impossible, Szeth whispered. Our sensors should have detected. Your sensors detect what we allow them to detect, Dr. Webb interrupted. We've been studying Federation sensor technology for decades. Creating stealth systems was merely a matter of understanding your detection methods and designing around them. The first strike Ambassador Cross checked her chronometer. 58 minutes remaining, Captain. I suggest you begin your departure immediately. Szeth's pride finally overrode his growing fear. You dare threaten the Federation? We've conquered 10,000 worlds. We'll reduce this pathetic planet to radioactive ash. The words had barely left his mouth when the ship's weapons systems activated automatically. Szeth hadn't given the order, but somehow his ship was preparing to fire on the planet below. Sir! Chief Engineer Blix's tentacles writhed in panic. The weapon systems are activating independently. Someone's overriding our controls. Dr. Webb's expression didn't change. We've had access to your computer system since you entered our solar system, Captain. Every crashed ship we recovered included intact data cores. We know your systems better than you do. On the main screen, Admiral Stone's voice cut through the chaos. All Federation vessels in Sol system, this is your final warning. Depart immediately or be destroyed. There will be no further negotiations. Captain Zeth realized with mounting horror that his ship was completely compromised. The humans hadn't just been watching the Federation's expansion. They'd been preparing to hijack their technology and turn it against them. The point of no return. Override the weapon systems. Zeth screamed at his crew. Regain control of our ship. I can't, sir. Blix's voice was high with panic. They've locked us out of everything. Weapons, engines, life support, it's all under their control now. Dr. Webb stood calmly amid the chaos, his expression never changing. Captain, you have two choices. Order your ship to depart peacefully, or watch us demonstrate what we've learned from 70 years of studying your technology. The main screen split to show Federation listening posts throughout the galaxy, going silent one by one. Human strikes were hitting Federation installations simultaneously across dozens of star systems. This wasn't just first contact. It was a coordinated military campaign that had been planned for decades. How? Zeth gasped. How did you coordinate attacks across the entire galaxy? Captain Reese answered with military precision. Quantum entanglement communicators, reverse engineered from your own technology. We've been infiltrating Federation space for 15 years, placing agents and weapons on every major world you control. Ambassador Cross stepped closer to the viewing portal, watching Federation installations burn across the galaxy. Every species you conquered thought they were alone, facing an overwhelming enemy. They didn't know about each other, couldn't coordinate resistance, couldn't share resources or strategies. Her smile was like winter ice. We made sure they know about each other now. The beast awakens. The screen showed rebellions erupting on Federation worlds throughout the galaxy. Species that had been subjugated for centuries were rising up simultaneously, armed with human weapons and supported by human tactical advisors. The Federation's iron grip on the galaxy was crumbling, in real time. You've doomed yourselves, Zeth said desperately. Even if you destroy my ship, the Federation has thousands of vessels. They'll come for you. Dr. Webb finally showed emotion, a cold, calculating satisfaction. Let them come. We've spent 50 years preparing for this war, Captain. Every Federation ship that enters human space will be destroyed or captured. Every Federation world that harbors military forces will be liberated. Every Federation official who refuses to surrender will be eliminated. Admiral Stone's voice echoed through the ship's communication system. Captain Zeth, you have 30 seconds to begin departure, or we will demonstrate why the galaxy is about to regret making first contact with Terra. As alarms blared and his crew scrambled desperately to regain control of their own ship, Captain Zeth realized that the Federation had made a catastrophic mistake. They hadn't discovered a primitive species to exploit. They had awakened a sleeping predator that had been watching, learning, and preparing to tear their empire apart from within. The beast was awake, and it was hungry for war.